There's a woman in there, mate.
In the cities of Scotland, a fierce and unrelenting tempest made its presence known on October 19th, 2023. Storm Babbitt, a name destined to be etched into the annals of Scottish weather history, unleashed its wrath upon the United Kingdom with an intensity that sent shockwaves across the nation. As Thursday's sun began to wane, ominous flash flood warnings echoed through the Scottish countryside. The heavens wept, the winds roared, and colossal waves relentlessly pummeled the coastline. Entire communities were submerged under floodwaters, thousands were evacuated from their homes, and damage totaled in the billions. This video chronicles the meteorological onslaught that overwhelmed the country's defenses and left residents reeling. On October 18th, the first indications of trouble came when the Met Office issued a rare red weather warning for eastern Scotland. Their models predicted extreme record-breaking rainfall and severe gales, with major impacts expected. The alert covered coastal and inland areas from Angus down to Dundee and Perth. Residents were told to prepare for flooding, power outages, and travel nightmares. The forecasts proved accurate. On October 19th, fierce winds and massive 30-foot waves pounded shoreline communities like Stonehaven. Further west, steady rains began falling, rapidly overflowing waterways. With soils at full saturation, the deluge had nowhere to go but into towns and cities. The worst-hit area was Brechin in Angus, where the river overflowed its banks and flood defences. On October 20th, the council ordered 400 households evacuated as waters continued rising. Displaced residents streamed to packed emergency shelters in the region, bringing their own bedding. The impact was so severe that the catastrophic scenes were captured in footage circulating on social media. The videos depict the unforgiving power of the storm. Surges in multiple locations across Scotland, including Aberdeen, Dundee, Angus, Bryan, Peterhead, and Kirkwall. It's a stark reminder of nature's might and the devastating consequences it can unleash upon communities. Storm Babbitt was not confined to Scotland alone. While Scotland faced the full wrath of this tempest, heavy rain was also imminent elsewhere. Northern England, southeast Scotland, the Pennines, Peaks, Dales, eastern England, North Wales, and the eastern regions of Northern Ireland all found themselves in the storm's path. As Thursday evening descended, the rains arrived with force, and the situation was compounded as Friday approached. Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, Wales, Yorkshire, Scotland, and beyond were drenched in this relentless downpour. The Scottish Government, in partnership with the Met Office, deemed the situation dire enough to issue a rare red weather alert for continuous rain, commencing at 6 p.m. on Thursday and continuing until midday on Friday. The list of potentially affected areas grew, now encompassing Angus, Aberdeenshire, Grampian, Central Tayside, and Fife. The Met Office, the authority on meteorological matters, warned that this extraordinary volume of rainfall had the potential to cause severe disruption and posed a tangible danger to life. In response, the government implored citizens to remain in the safety of their homes and avoid any travel to the areas ravaged by Storm Babbitt. The Scottish Government's resilience operation sprang into action, collaborating with emergency service partners to curtail the disaster's impact. The situation was grim, prompting the issuance of yellow and amber weather warnings. Effective throughout Thursday and Friday, these warnings encompassed eastern and northern Scotland, where heavy rain and potent winds were forecasted. The Met Office forewarned that these conditions were highly likely to bring substantial disruptions and life-threatening dangers, but the impact didn't stop at the land's edge. Storm Babbitt, a storm of such immense proportions, disrupted flights from Aberdeen heliport to offshore installations.
What a knobhead.
The operators of these vital helicopter services reported a stark situation. No flights took off from Ain on Thursday, as all offshore helicopter services were cancelled, with only one flight postponed due to the treacherous weather conditions. A red weather warning, a classification reserved for conditions with the potential to imperil lives, was issued by the Met Office for Storm Babbitt. Roads and businesses in Aberdeenshire, Angus and the Highlands were shuttered in response to the crisis. The Aberdeen City Council, communicating through social media, conveyed that they had to close attractions due to the severe weather. This included the Winter Gardens at Duthie Park and Pets Corner at Hazelhead Park. Local authorities also took the precautionary step of closing public facilities. The closure of the Art Gallery, Maritime Museum and Provost Skeens House was enforced at 3 p.m. Public transport services across the region bore the brunt of the severe weather. Dundee City Council, in response to the red weather alert, declared a citywide alert. This translated to several council services being affected by Storm Babbitt. The tumultuous storm, a confluence of lows and weather fronts, marched northward overnight, stirring up the winds as it went. Along the coastline of northeast England, a dire forecast predicted a formidable EAS, or Southeast 7 to 9, on the Beaufort scale. The situation escalated to a 10, with gales of extreme ferocity at times, making the high seas a perilous domain. Along the exposed coast, the spectacle was wild, with formidable gusts. As one ventured inland towards the west, strong winds persisted, and the Scottish mountains were enveloped in dangerous conditions. As the evening wore on, strong easterly winds began their march towards England's coastlines. By the time Friday morning dawned, these winds had travelled eastward to Norfolk and further across northern England and the Irish Sea. Strong gusts continued, and in the Irish Sea, strong winds were anticipated on Friday evening.